Why, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Coach Kevin here, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to go ahead and do is share my screen with you and point out a couple of things. There we go. First thing I want to point out is we have a Facebook group that coincides with this meetup, and the Facebook group has exactly the same name. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. So we invite you to come join our Facebook group. You can find us by going into your Facebook account, finding where it says search Facebook, and then just type in the name of the group. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. The next thing that you could do, if you prefer, is just go directly to facebook.com/groups/ I want to be really rich. So that's another way you can come find us and ask to join us, and we'll be happy to have you. The reasons you might want to be part of the group. First of all, if we have anything special to announce, we usually like to pin those to the top. But the thing that people find probably most important is it's another way to interact. And as long as I remember to hit the record button when we have these Zoom meetings, I typically do. And as you can see in here, here they are. So that gives you the opportunity, one, if you missed a meeting, you could go back and watch it. Or number two, let's say you attended something and you're like, wow, I really like that. Then there's your opportunity to go through it again and review it. Okay. Next thing I want to go ahead and share with you is what we're in the process of going through right now. We are going through a particular book. Now, we don't always do books. Sometimes we do books. Sometimes we do other things. But in this case, we started out a week ago. We started out last Monday in a book called The Science of Getting Rich. That book was written or published in 1910 by a gentleman by the name of Wallace. And if you've heard of the movie or the book, The Secret, which was created by Rhonda Byrne's daughter gave her the book, The Science of Getting Rich. And The Science of Getting Rich and what she learned from it, as well as other things, are what actually made her decide that she wanted to create the movie and the book, The Secret. She created the movie first, and then the book essentially is a transcription of what is in the movie. Okay. And speaking of that, I've read it multiple times. I've probably since early 06, even before The Secret came out, I was introduced to this. But early 06 to now, I have probably read The Science of Getting Rich and or listened to it on audiobook 60 to 70 times, quite a few. And it happens to be one of my favorite foundational ones when teaching people how to manifest money and wealth utilizing the law of attraction. So what I did is, or I like to do, I'm going to hit the back button here because I want to show you where I found it. That way you can go grab a copy of your own if the internet will actually pick up a little more speed. Here we go. All I did is I typed in The Science of Getting Rich PDF. One of the first things that popped up was this, The Science of Getting Rich The Secret, and www.thesecret.tv. I knew that that was Rhonda Byrne's website, so I had trust in it. And when I clicked on it, exactly what pops up is actually PDF file of the book. I believe I said we were on page 37. We'll see here. Yep. So we're currently on page 37. And what I did with the book is I just went ahead and downloaded it onto my computer. Now, that's not what I did right this second, but I've got the copy on my computer now too. This is actually exactly just what pops up when you go to the internet, even without downloading it. You can get a visual of it. Okay, I'm blowing it up on purpose so you guys can see it a little bit better on my screen to follow along with us today. Highly, highly, highly recommend you get this book. To give you a little bit of my background and why I feel it's a very important book, and especially a very good one to start with when we want to manifest more money and wealth in our life, is I was introduced to this by somebody who became a good friend of mine. Her name is Leslie Householder. This was back in February of 2006. Leslie Householder at that point in time was a coach and a facilitator for the Science of Getting Rich program that had been created by a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor. Who's Bob Proctor? Many of you have probably heard of him, especially if you've been following things in relationship to the law of attraction. Bob Proctor wrote his own book called You're Born Rich, but Bob Proctor has been in the personal development field now. October 21st of last year, he completed 59 years sharing with people how to utilize the law of attraction and how the mind works to manifest more money and wealth in your life. And Bob, he's in year number 60, and he's going to be in July 87 years old. So essentially, he's been into this work for 40 years now. Pretty phenomenal stuff. And he had trained Leslie. I had Leslie help teach and train me. I went through a Science of Getting Rich seminar, and I went through the books, and then I went through a self-study. And in a period of 2.5 to 3 months from that experience, my income rose from $5,000 to $6,000 a month, all the way up to generating income of an average of $50,000 a month. So that's pretty significant to go from $5,000 to $6,000 all the way up to 50 as an average. So essentially, it was January, February, March, and April of 2006 where I was at the $5,000 to $6,000 that year, and the rest of that year going forward, it averaged 50. Why do I say average? Well, one month it was 88,000, another month it was 30 some odd thousand. But from the time that not only did I get this information, but I went through a process of being coached and reprogramming my subconscious mind, that process has definitely changed my life. After that, I asked Bob Proctor more recently in the last few years to be my own personal coach. And he has coached me and trained me to be a coach and facilitator of his programs. And like Leslie, I am now independent. Not that there's anything wrong with Bob. Bob is amazing. I love Bob, love his team, love the people I interact with over there. It's just one of those things where the spirit said, it's time to do your thing. You have some things to offer, and it's time to spread your wings and be out of that type of nest. And actually, I've been a business consultant and essentially kind of a law of attraction consultant for many years anyway. Okay. So anyhow, that gives a little bit of my background and why I feel this book is so important and why I think it can have a huge impact for you, like it has for me, as long as you're open to what it has to offer. So we are on this particular chapter, Thinking in a Certain Way. What I'm going to do right now is start reading. I will share commentary where I feel it would be helpful or appropriate. Now, I do want you to know there is interaction that's involved with participating with us. What we do is we like to leave 10 to 15 minutes towards the end of what we're doing for you to share what you want to share and or ask whatever questions you want to ask. So if something pops up as we're going through this and you're like, oh, I got a question, or you're like, oh, I've got something that I can relate to this, or you want to share something, then know that you will get your opportunity. We'll come out a screen share at some point, and you'll be able to share with the entire group, whatever it is that you like. Okay? All right, here we go. Turn back to chapter 6 and read again the story of the man who formed a mental image of his house, and you will get a fair idea of the initial step toward getting rich. You must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. You must have it before you can give it. And many people fail to impress thinking substance because they have themselves only a vague and misty concept of the things they want to do, have, or become. All right, to give a little background, because if this is your first day with us, you're going to hear formless substance, thinking substance, original substance. What are we referring to? We're not referring to God in this instance. We are referring to energy or matter. That would be a better way to do it. God is another entity, okay? But the energy and matter is stuff that when we think, we create vibration, and that vibration impresses upon matter and energy a particular vibration. So in being that vibration that is impressed upon the formless substance is what gets transmitted out to the universe and sends a signal that that is what it should bring back to us. It reflects back to us that which we vibrate. Okay. The reason I'm saying that it is not God is because the thinking or formless substance, again, it just reflects back. It doesn't actually make its own choices. We're the ones who choose what to think. It responds. That's not how God works with us. God has the ability also to create his own original thought and to impress on formless substance whatever he likes. And also, could you even imagine, God is not the one impressing wars and things like that onto formless substance. God loves us. God wants the best for us. God is trying to teach us and train us and show us how to live the best life that we can possibly live, including learning how the laws of the universe and the law of attraction work for us. And he's not going to create negative things. However, if we're impressing negative things upon the formless substance, upon energy and matter, what's going to get reflected back to in our lives is that which is not necessarily desirable for us. Okay. So just want to make a distinction there. It is not enough that you should have a general desire for wealth to do good with. Everybody has that desire, and it's not specific enough. It is not enough that you should wish to travel. And again, the word wish, see things, live more, etc. Everybody has those desires also. If you were going to send a wireless message to a friend, you would not send the letters of the alphabet in their order and let him or her construct the message for him or herself. By the way, again, this book was published in 1910, so it's going to speak in the masculine form, but just want you to know that hopefully you should not make a difference in the concepts that you're being taught. Okay. But every once in a while, I'll say him or her. And that will be me, probably not the book. Nor would you take words at random from the dictionary. You would send a coherent sentence, one which meant something. So let me go back. Okay. If you were to send a wireless message, let's say you're sending a text message or an email, there you go. Here, they're probably talking more of like a telegram back once upon a time, but same difference. You would not send the letters of the alphabet in their order, A, B, C, D, but you put in 3 Ds and 7 Fs and 2 Ws and whatnot, and let them figure out what you're trying to spell, okay? And let him construct the message for himself, nor would you take words at random from the dictionary. You would send a coherent sentence, one which meant something, and one which the person on the other side can read, and it will create in their mind a picture, a vision of what it is that you're trying to explain to them. When you try to impress your wants upon substance, remember that it must be done by a coherent statement, one which is understandable, one which actually creates an image of what you want. You must know what you want and be definite. You can never get rich or start the creative power into action by sending out unformed longings and vague desires. Go over your desires just as the man I've described went over his house. So you might want to go get a copy of this book and read that, and or go over some of the different videos that we've got of previous days that we were going through this book, and get a clear mental picture of it as you wish it to look when you get it. So go over your desires just as the man I've described went over his house. See just what you want and get a clear mental picture of it as you wish it to look when you get it. The clear mental picture must have continually in mind, as the sailor in mind, the port towards which he is sailing, the ship. You must keep your face toward it all the time. You must no more lose sight of it than the steersman loses sight of the compass. It is not necessary to take exercises in concentration, nor to set apart special times for prayer and affirmation, nor to go into the silence, nor to do occult stunts of any kind. These things are well enough, but all you need is to know what you want, and to want it badly enough so that it will stay in your thoughts. Spend as much of your leisure time as you can in contemplating your picture. But no one needs to take exercises to concentrate his mind on a thing which he really wants. It is the things you do not really care about which require effort to fix your attention upon them. And unless you really want to get rich, so that the desire is strong enough to hold your thoughts directed to the purpose, as the magnetic pole holds the needle of the compass, it will hardly be worthwhile for you to try to carry out the instructions given in this book. The methods herein set forth are for people whose desire for riches is strong enough to overcome mental laziness and the love of ease and make them work. The more clear and definite you make your picture, then, and the more you dwell upon it, bringing out all its delightful details, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. Something more is necessary, however, than merely to see the picture clearly. If that is all you do, you're only a dreamer and will have little or no power for accomplishment. Behind your vision must be the purpose, the true intention, the decision made to realize it, to bring it out in tangible expression. And behind this purpose must be an invincible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours, that it is at hand, and that you have only to take possession of it. And the chapter we went and did the other day on gratitude helps you understand how to build that faith. Live in the new house mentally until it takes form around you physically. Let me repeat that. Live in the house mentally until it takes form around you physically. In the mental realm, enter at once. When? Enter when? At once. Into full enjoyment of the things you want. Live as though it already has happened. Whatsoever things ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them, said Jesus. So the belief comes first, the belief that it's already yours. Whatsoever things ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them, said Jesus. See the things you want as if they were actually around you all the time. See yourself as owning and using them. Make use of them in imagination, just as you will use them when they are your tangible possessions. Dwell upon your mental picture until it is clear and distinct. And then take the mental attitude of ownership toward everything in that picture. Take possession of it in mind, in the full faith that it is actually yours. Hold to this mental ownership. Do not waver for an instant in the faith that it is real. And remember what was said in the preceding chapter about gratitude. Be as thankful for it all the time as you expect to be when it has taken form. The man who can sincerely thank God for the things which as yet he owns only in imagination has real faith. He will get rich. He will cause the creation of whatsoever he wants. You do not need to pray repeatedly for the things you want. It's not necessary to tell God about it every day. Use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, said Jesus, said to his pupils. For your Father knoweth that you have need of these things before you ask him. Your part is to intelligently formulate your desire for the things which make for a larger life, so that you can be all you can be, do all you can do, and have all you can have. And to get these desires arranged in a coherent whole, and then to impress the whole desire upon the formless substance, which has the power and the will to bring you what you want. You do not make this impression by repeating strings of words. Okay. What about affirmations and stuff? We'll get to that, guys. Okay. There's a correct way. You do not make this impression by repeating strings of words. You might use that to help reprogram yourself, but that's not what you do to ask God. You make it by holding the vision with unshakable purpose to attain it, and with steadfast faith that you do attain it. The answer to prayer is not according to your faith while you are talking, but according to your faith while you are working. You cannot impress the mind of God by having a special Sabbath day set apart to tell him what you want and then forgetting him during the rest of the week. You cannot impress him by having special hours to go into your closet and pray. If you then dismiss the matter from your mind until the hour of prayer comes again, here we go. Oral prayer is well enough and has its effect, especially upon yourself, in clarifying your vision and strengthening your faith. Okay, let me repeat that. Oral prayer is well enough and has its effect, especially upon yourself, in clarifying your vision and strengthening your faith. But it is not your oral petitions which get you what you want. In order to get rich, you do not need a sweet hour of prayer. You need to pray without ceasing. And by prayer, so here we go. Here's the definition. Here's what Wallace Wattles means. And by prayer, I mean holding steady to your vision with the purpose to cause its creation into solid form and the faith you are doing so. Believe that you receive them. The whole matter turns on receiving once you have clearly formed your vision. When you have formed it, it is well to make an oral statement addressing the supreme and reverent prayer. And from that moment, you must, in mind, receive what you ask for. Live in the new house, wear the fine clothes, ride in the automobile, go on the journey, and confidently plan for greater journeys. Think and speak of all things you have asked for in terms of actual present ownership. Think and speak of all things you have asked for in terms of present ownership. Think and speak all the things you have asked for in terms of actual present ownership. Imagine an environment and a financial condition exactly as you want them, and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. Imagine an environment and a financial condition exactly as you want them, and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. Mind, however, that you do not do this as a mere dreamer and castle builder. Hold to the faith that the imaginary is being realized and to the purpose to realize it. Remember that it is faith and purpose in the use of the imagination which make the difference between the scientist and the dreamer. And having learned this fact, it is here that you will learn the proper use of the will. How to use the will. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not try to apply your willpower to anything outside yourself. You have no right to do so anyway. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do what you wish done. It is as flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. If compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery, compelling them by mental means accomplishes exactly the same thing. The only difference is in methods. If taking things from people by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery also. There is no difference in principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even for his or her own good, including, by the way, particularly your children when they are of the age that they can make their own decisions. For you do not know what is for his or her good. Let me repeat this. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even for his or her own good, for you do not know what is for his or her good. The science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. There is not the slightest necessity for doing so. Indeed, any attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. You do not need to apply your will to things in order to compel them to come to you. That would simply be trying to coerce God and would be foolish and useless as well as irreverent. You do not have to compel God to give you good things any more than you have to use your willpower to make the sun rise. You do not have to use your willpower to conquer an unfriendly deity or to make stubborn and rebellious forces do your bidding. Substance is friendly to you and is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. Let me repeat that. Substance is friendly to you because it just responds back to you. It'll respond to anything you put out. Okay. So it's not fighting with you. You're the one that has the control here. If you're not getting what you want, then you got to understand that you're not putting out what you want at a vibrational level through your thoughts. Substance, though, is friendly to you. It is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you need only to use your willpower upon yourself. That's what it's for. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That's what it's for. That is the legitimate use of the will in getting what you want. To use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in the certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space to act on things or people. Keep your mind at home. It can accomplish more there than elsewhere. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose, and use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, that's why you should take your leisure time to do this too. That's the continuous. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich, because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. The picture of your desires held with faith and purpose is taken up by the formless and permeates it to great distances throughout the universe, for all I know. And this impression as this impression spreads, all things are set moving toward its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and the things yet uncreated are stirred toward bringing into being that which you want. All force begins to be exerted in that direction. All things begin to move toward you. The minds of people everywhere are influenced toward doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. Doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. It is by not understanding this that most people who try to make use of mental science in getting rich make their failure. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. Notice how insistent Jesus was upon this point of belief, and now you know the reason why. Since belief is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts. And as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about, it is important that you should command your attention. And here the will comes into use, for it is by your will that you determine upon what things your attention will be fixed. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking about their opposites. Health is never to be attained by studying disease and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not to be promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin. No one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. Medicine, as a science of disease, has increased disease. Religion as a science of sin has promoted sin, and economics as a study of poverty will fill the world with wretchedness and want. Do not talk about poverty. Do not investigate it or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. What concerns you is the cure. Do not spend your time in charitable work or charity movements. All charity only tends to perpetuate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. Now, this may be a little difficult for some of you to hear, but he's going to explain a little further on, and I think you'll be in alignment with that. I do not say that you should be hard-hearted, here you go, or unkind, and refuse to hear the cry of need. But you must not try to eradicate, so that is to get rid of poverty in any of the conventional ways. Okay, put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Get rich. That's the best way you can help the poor. Okay, and you cannot hold the mental image, which is to make you rich, if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers, of the horrors of child labor, and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. Here's how you help. What tends to do away with poverty is not the getting of pictures of poverty into your mind, but by getting pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. You're not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your mind to be filled with pictures of that misery. Let me repeat that. A lot of us don't feel that way. You are not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your mind to be filled with pictures of that misery. Poverty can be done away with not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people with or who purpose with faith, they come up and decide and make up their mind with the faith to get rich. The poor do not need charity, they need inspiration. Charity, so this is we can help, it's true, but this is not going to eradicate it. Okay. Understand, if you're trying to get rid of it, this is not helping get rid of it. Might be a little bit soothing, but it is not helping get rid of it. The poor do not need charity, they need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. The only way in which poverty will ever be banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people to practice the teachings in this book, to show them how their mind works and how they actually have control. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not by competition. Every man who becomes rich by competition throws down behind him the ladder by which he rises and keeps others down. But every man who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow him and inspires them to do so. You're not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or to listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. All right. Yep. Their will is so important. There's an additional chapter. However, we will hop into that tomorrow. All right. We have some people here. Welcome, 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 welcome. Looks like we may even have some new people here. All right, so let me explain what we're doing at this point. At this point, we are giving you the opportunity to share what you would like to share and or ask whatever questions you would like to ask. So what is it that would be okay to share about? Well, if you've been with us, we just started this group last Monday. So you could have been with us over the past week and today possibly. So you can share anything in relationship to what we've gone over in the past or what we went over today. Maybe something you learned, maybe some ahas you picked up on, anything that would be helpful. The other things that would be awesome to share is if you have intentionally manifested something in your life and you've recognized that. So if something good has happened, particularly in relationship to more money or wealth, that's awesome. However, any good thing that you put out there that you intentionally manifested, if you want to share that, that would be awesome. The other thing you can do is you can ask questions. So what type of questions would you ask? Going back again, anything in relationship to what we've been studying, what we went through today, and or any questions in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life. So here's your opportunity to share. The way we do that is you just come off of mute and start sharing what you want to share or ask whatever question you want to ask. And we'll take you in the order that we do that, that you do that. So this is your time. Go ahead if you would like to share something. This is your time. We got that shy silence thing going on. I guess what that tells me is you all got everything you want in life.
Good afternoon. This is Pia. Thanks for being there.
Hey, hi Pia. You're welcome.
I like to, first of all, like to thank you for having this class. It's beautiful. And as you've been reading and sharing with us, I feel an internal liberation of almost of all doubts how to feel about being successful and helping others. Because the idea is to help yourself to help others.
Absolutely. Yeah. To allow God to help us become all that we can be, do, or have, to set an example and to help lift other people up so that they can do the same. Absolutely.
Yeah. And second, I like to share this class with my family, who is reticent to listen when I tell them to something. So I like to find out how can I have them have at least a sample of what you say and what you read
Yeah.
and
So,
at different times.
So what you can do, I don't know if you were with us when we first started, but at the very beginning, I'll show you again. We have a Facebook group that coincides with this meetup. So it has the exact same name. So you can go find the Facebook group and ask to join us. We'll be happy to have you. And then what we do is if you scroll down, you can see that the different Zoom meetings that we have are recorded and then posted here. So you have not only the ones from this meeting that we started Monday, but we have a different Zoom meeting that happens 2 hours earlier. So this one is noon my time. I'm in California, but we have one that goes on at 10 o'clock a.m. my time also that goes for about 45 minutes to an hour. So we actually have all of that posted here going all the way back to November 5th of last year. So we have a lot of information. Now, the two different classes, the topics are eventually the same. What I mean is both the 10 o'clock and the noon aren't the same thing at the same time. They're different things. However, like the class that started 10 a.m. has already been going for 3.5 months. What we did is we took the one that started a week ago Monday and started it at the same place that we started the original one. So, but eventually they'll circle back around through material and through discussions and things like that. But yeah, you can join our Facebook group, and then, while you're in the group, if you want to hit, click on a video or something and show them what we're doing, you're welcome to do that.
Thank you. You're right. I was not at the beginning. Thank you for I'll be reading that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Here, let me copy this and I'll post this. Let me get out screen share into chat here. I personally don't do a lot into chat typically. So that way I can pay attention to what we're doing and what people are saying versus trying to read. But I just put the link into chat for you guys if you would like to, be part of the Facebook group.
Thank
Make it
you.
a little bit easier to do that. Okay.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Uh-huh. All right. Anybody else? Any questions or comments? I know we've got a few people here that participate in the other group. And I also know that several of them shared an hour ago in our other class and asked questions and things. But I'm totally serious about this. I mean, here's my assumption, and I'm going to kind of be brutally honest. If you're not going to take this time to get help, then that must mean that everything in your life is manifested exactly the way you want it to. And then you should share with us exactly how you do it.
Hi, I have a little something to say.
Okay.
It's Karen. It's Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah, I just want to say that I was listening to this guy who, this guy sounds good, talking about happiness earlier today, right? And how you just basically have to, be happy, and then happy things kind of attract to you, like the law of attraction, I guess. Anyhow, I just want to say, since I started listening to you, every time I listen to anything, it seems to be coming back to this topic again without me even expecting it. It comes back to this topic again and again and again, which is a good thing. Okay. I just wanted to share that, and thank you for help keeping me on the right track in my thinking processes.
You're welcome, Karen.
That's all.
All right. Thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. Betsy, did you look like you maybe were trying to say something?
Yeah. The last class I wanted, you couldn't hear. I just wanted to ask you, it's on the web. Saying,
Let me do something here. I'm going to shut off my video for a moment because your audio, maybe it's bandwidth or something. Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
About you.
It's all right. Go ahead and ask.
Lies. Yes. Better.
A little bit. If anybody does know what she's saying, maybe you could either repeat for her because I'm not hearing her very well. Darn.
No, well, it's just that I am me, and then I'm perfect, and then I'm an individual type of thing. I have a hard time with that.
Okay, here's what I caught, Betsy. I must have caught you, but I have a hard time with I'm a perfect individual just the way I am. Is that kind of what you said?
Well, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
I mean, I obviously missed
something.
something.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Never mind.
I'm not frustrated. I'll
okay.
hang there.
Huh?
No, I'm here to help. I don't care if it takes.
No. I'm just trying to figure out how I can make myself understand that I'm an individual that has a lot to give to other people just by myself type of thing.
Okay.
You don't understand. I don't know how to make you understand.
Well, no, you have a hard time believing that. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. And you're wondering how to help yourself believe it. Right? You would like to know how to help yourself believe that.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
I know you've been with us for a while in the other class. And there's a few different concepts that we've already gone over and why I chose some of the material that I chose. First of all, the one, and everybody's a little different as far as what strikes them or or what they enjoy the most. And also you could read something one time and then get something totally different the next time. But the purpose, the biggest reason we went through the book, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, was to help us better understand who we are and what we're capable of. And we went through The Game of Life, which is another book that kind of helps us understand, oh my gosh, I can actually say and put things out there and literally, like, it can come back to me pretty quick sometimes. There is no such thing in the law of attraction in relationship to the vibration that we put out to the universe, to that formless substance. It doesn't judge worthiness. It doesn't judge us having to have accomplished anything. It just responds to vibration. That's all it does. It reflects back to us the essence, sometimes the very thing we're asking for. But if we're not quite as clear, it'll reflect back to us the essence of what we're vibrating. And it just does. It doesn't vibrate back to us based upon if we went out and did something special for someone, or if we went and did something, we don't earn our way in this process. That's what we have so much trouble with in our programming, and with our image of ourselves. And that doesn't mean, everybody with a tough or with a self-image has money issues, because sometimes the image is different around money versus around other things. But we don't actually qualify for anything or do anything that qualifies for us to receive what we get out of life when we start to understand how these laws work. And it is so different from how we were brought up, because we reward, we base rewards in the world we live in a lot of times based upon what someone else does. If you do this, I reward you. If you do this and make me happy, I do something back for you. And it's this constant, you feel like, man, I can't do enough to have all the things I want to have, because it is so much work, and I'm imperfect too, and I screw it up sometimes. And the law of attraction doesn't respond to any sense of worthiness, other than if we don't feel worthy of something, it won't show up in our life. But worthiness isn't created by your action or lack thereof. Worthiness is a story. Worthiness is a story that we tell ourselves, or that we've accepted from others telling us. But energy is electricity will perform for somebody worthy and unworthy. If they have something plugged into the wall and they turn that thing on and everything's working correctly, there's no matter of worthiness that your toaster will or not work for you. The toaster does what it's supposed to do. You put the toast in it, you press the thing, and if you have it set on the, this temperature you want to make your toast brown, it doesn't say, well, were you good yesterday? Did you please me? Did you do everything I asked you to do? Because if you haven't, I am not going to make this toast. No, it doesn't. You just put the bread in the toaster, it's plugged in, it's set to the correct settings, and you push the button, and the only thing you have to have is some bread. You have to put the bread in the toaster, the bagel, the English muffin, or whatever it is that you're putting in the toaster, but the toaster does everything else. And it doesn't ask you if you're worthy of toast. It doesn't, after you put it, go talk to its friend and say, hey, Betsy put some toast in, or put some bread in me. Was Betsy good? Like the whole Santa Claus thing. Has Betsy been a good girl? Am I going to give Betsy toast? Or am I going to burn her toast? If the toast burns, it's because the setting, not because the toaster decided that Betsy doesn't deserve toast. So I'm going to burn it so it's no good for Betsy. So, and I'm using your name just because you asked the question. Law of attraction functions without us having to be worthy of anything. However, if we feel crappy because we feel we are unworthy, then we send out a crappy vibration. And what gets mirrored back to us is the essence of what we're vibrating. So crappy things start to happen to us. But if we choose to not judge ourselves based upon being worthy, like who arbitrarily decides if we're worthy or not? Because God is actually there to help us out. And also, depending on your personal religious beliefs, everybody, it's okay, whatever you believe. If you were a Christian, potentially, then Jesus Christ did something that allows for forgiveness for our sins and mistakes, as long as we allow him the ability to do it for us, which he did. He already did it. We don't even have to, we have to accept the gift that was given so that we can, receive that. But we'll never be worthy enough to actually be worthy of anything because we're imperfect. We're never going to stop making mistakes or committing any form of sin because of who we are. We have not developed yet to the point where we don't make mistakes anymore. So we have to get to ourselves to a point where we start to recognize that, hey, to have what I want, all I have to do is put out the vibration of what I want, hang on to it until it is accepted into formless substance, let God in the universe take care of the rest of it, and then they will tell me through revelation, inspiration, intuition, what's my step? What step do I need to take, the next step, to receive what it is that I want? But every single person on here that's listening to this, as well as anybody who's not with us right now, okay, it's you don't qualify for the law of attraction to work for you based upon any form of worthiness. It functions just like that toaster I was talking about. It functions like your refrigerator at home. Your refrigerator at home doesn't decide if it's going to keep your stuff cold or not based upon if you are worthy of a refrigerator that keeps things cold or not. Your car doesn't choose to run or not. You go buy a brand new, let's say you go buy a brand new Lexus. It's supposed to be pretty darn reliable, nice car. And if you did something today that was not necessarily worthy of what you believe you should have been doing, chances are pretty good your car, when you put the key in the car, or actually it's going to push button anyway, because it's newer, the car is probably still going to function, unless you're worried about the car not functioning. So we got to understand that we're the ones that we're the ones that emit thought. We get to choose what we think about. And what we get out of life is just a reflection back of what we think about. And Wallace is giving us a formula here for attracting more money and wealth into our lives, which can be used for many other things. But you're amazing, Betsy. Absolutely worthy of anything that you want in life. But you don't have to be worthy in that sense. We can never be good enough. Okay. Therefore, we can never be bad enough.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All right. Any additional comments or questions before we go? Going once. Going twice. All right. Well, thank you everyone that joined us this afternoon, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Thank you so much to you. Bye-bye.
Oh, by the way, I never really have told any of you guys this, but I think you should assume it. You're allowed to give this link out that you got and have your friends register. The point is, anybody can come on who wants to. So if you want to tell family or friends about it, tell them. Love to have them, as long as they're going to come with a good attitude. We definitely would enjoy them.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.